Let's get some music playing. There's a little face. Oh. Probably not. All right. Welcome, 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 everybody. Today we are going to be painting bleeding heart plants. This is a painting I completed in 2013. So I'm excited to see how much I'm improving because it's been 10 years. Yeah, 10 years since I painted this, because I painted this in like June, it looks like January 2013. So yeah, let's see what we can do now. All right, so the first thing we are going to have to do, can everyone hear me well, or is the music kind of drowning me out? No? I can go close the curtains. Okay. Hi, ladies. Hello to this gorgeous group. Just I am teaching a class, so like if we can just be aware of the noise, I'd appreciate it. I know. I'm trying to. Okay. I understand. All right. Ooh. Okay. So the first thing that we are going to do is let's do the branch that is connecting all of our hearts, because that will give us a really good idea of where to place the hearts. So for me personally, you guys can either follow along or create your own composition if you want. I always like it when the top kind of comes down to the side. Like I like working corner to corner kind of. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of freehand just like that. I am working pretty dark. Do you see it? Okay. There you go. This is so old. I think I'm going to kind of do my own thing, but we can use this as reference kind of thing to understand. But I think I'm changing the composition because I've learned a thing or two since 2013. So I think I'm going to improve it. So my first heart, so right now, what is happening? Sorry, ladies. What is happening right now in my head is that I'm trying to figure out my composition, and the rule. Has anyone heard of the rule of thirds with art? Okay, so the rule of thirds is that for like really nice composition, to put your subjects in thirds. So you can divide your paper both horizontally and vertically into thirds. So if I'm thinking about it, here's 1/3, here's another third. And then if I divide it this way, here's a third, and then here's a third. So I'm going to be placing my main heart like at this top corner third. Does that make sense to everybody? What's happening in my head? I'm sorry? Yeah, I'm doing like probably the biggest one is going to be right here. So to create these, it's fairly simple. Does everyone know how to draw a heart? Okay. Well, to draw a heart, think of it's like 2 drops of water kind of connecting. So if you think of a drop of water, right? It looks like this. So then if you take it out and you do another drop of water, then you get like a nice heart shape. Does that make sense? And then you can just erase the middle. No, it's not. I just drew it upside down. So I'm just kind of going to go in. Hearts is like my main doodle go-to, so I've got some experience drawing hearts. And then at the end, you're just going to add a little bit of a teardrop shape. What do you mean open? You can. Yeah. Okay, so then I'm gonna go in and draw some, probably, I'm gonna go with 5 hearts right here. Either 5 or 7 hearts. I like when I'm doing clusters of things, I like to go with odd numbers. That's just my personal favorite because I think that asymmetry looks a lot nicer than even numbers. So I'm just going to start kind of putting these on. I'm going to put one. This one's going to go behind the first one, but I'm just drawing it just to kind of get the feel for it. And I think I'm going to have this one a little bit more squished and turned on one side just to make it look like it's like a little bit like 3/4 view, if that makes sense. So then I'm erasing this. And then I'm just adding the drop underneath. A bleeding heart? Oh, it's actually really common in Montreal. Yeah, it's like we're in the perfect temperate zone for it. Okay, so then I'm gonna come over here on this side and I'm gonna do a cluster of 3 over here. And I'm gonna leave a little bit of a gap between because it looks a little. I already did. Yeah, I did. I'm so sorry. I could speak louder. Yeah. I did, yeah. They kind of like bit off my head a bit. Okay, so then over here, I'm gonna do a cluster of 3. So I'm going to kind of connect them. I like clusters. Let's do clusters. I also am in the phase of a cold where it's all in my sinuses. So bear with me if if talking and my thoughts aren't a little bit off. Okay, so I'm gonna do the first one right here. And then I'm going to make 2 smaller ones. Whoop. There we go. Yep. There's the one. And then I'm going to do, yeah, I think I'm going to do another one right here. That's kind of like tucked. It doesn't. Okay. Oh, hold on. Okay, go ahead. There we go. If they're a little smaller, if they're smaller, you can just add more if you want to. Like, I kind of want to add 2 more right now. I kind of want to add like a really small one in front right here. I want to add like a really tall one, small one there. And I need another small one. Maybe right here behind, just like tucked in that you can like barely see. There you go. I like that. That's cute. You know what? I scratched that. I don't want this. This composition's a little too wide for me. I want one down here. I want one like kinda, yeah, that but behind the other ones. And that's the nice thing about going in with pencil is you can kind of decide how you want your composition to look and then adjust accordingly before you add paint. There you go. I like that better. Okay. Um, okay. So then the next thing we are gonna do is we're done with our pencils. What I need from you guys is if you pressed really dark on your painting with your graphite, we need to lift that up. I pressed really dark with my graphite, so I'm gonna have to go in and lift it up. But don't worry because you guys will see it. You'll see it once I start adding paint. Because watercolor is a transparent medium and we are working fairly light, if I were to leave these really dark graphite marks, you'd be able to see it in your final painting. And then once you put paint over top of the graphite, you kind of seal it in there. Doesn't really want to lift off if it's got like another layer. It will to a certain degree, but then you'll also end up lifting off some layers of paint as well. I am erasing my really dark lines. That's it. Don't worry though, you guys will be able to see it once I start adding paint. All right, I'm happy with that. So I took off probably like 80% of the graphite that I had down there. Maybe more like 70%, but yes, it's there. So once we are finished that, we have to mix our pink. My bleeding hearts are going to be more red than pink because of my alizarin crimson. Some of you guys have a permanent rose in your palette from the previous teacher who like distributed them. So play around with, like, you guys all have test strips. So go around and figure out which, some of you have two what looks like alizarin crimsons, right? Some of you do. Play around, test it out, which one you want to use, if you do have the two. If not, you're going to be using alizarin crimson and you are going to be coming along on my journey. Nope, we're going to be doing a wet on dry technique. Okay, so I am using my alizarin crimson. What I'm doing is I'm switched to number 8 brush. I'm wetting my paintbrush. I'm going to pick up my color and I'm going to put it in a clean tray. So not this one, because that one has my black in it. Just cleaning this up a bit. And I'm putting it right there. Okay. So once we have that color that we're going to use, we are going to switch to a number 1 brush, our small brush, the small one. It might be 2, I'm not sure which one it is. We're switching to our small one. We are wetting it. We are going to scrape off any excess from our cup. And then we're going to pick up some of that color that we just took. And since I'm right-handed, I'm going to be working from my left to the right. So that, because if I work this way, I have a bad tendency of like laying my hand on the paper. And if this were all wet, I'd end up smearing it, right? So right now, I'm just going to outline specifically the top. And then, so a bleeding heart, how it looks. I'm just going to quickly. So how a bleeding heart looks is that it has almost a jacket that comes down from here. And then it comes out like this. And then the other side as well comes down here and then goes out again. Yep. Does that make sense? So it has a little bit of a jacket. So what we're going to do, I'll leave that there, is we are coming down and then we're looping up. So from this side coming down, yes, I'm working with the smallest brush that is in our palette. So again, to get the shape, right? So you have your heart. And then I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to grab a cadmium red. Don't follow me. I'm just trying not to use up my color. So from the top of this heart, where it starts coming down again, you can take your brush and continue it down and then loop it up. Okay? So from this, where your curve starts to go down, we're gonna go down and then we're gonna loop up. Does that make sense? We do, yes. But I'm just trying to show you how to get this shape. And then once you have this shape, we're going to kind of add teardrops to the end and then cover in this whole part. Kinda, yeah. Okay, so again, yes. It's not my best day today. So from here, we're gonna go up and then down, right? So we're just gonna continue this line down and then it goes up. So then the same thing, we're going to continue this line.
So each one of these
down.
is going to be the same thing?
Yep, and then up. And then we're coloring this in. We're adding this kind of like a little bit of a bulbous thing right there. Okay, yep. And then same here. Yeah, just like that.
Mine is not going to come up because I'm right at the end.
That's okay. It can just come off the page.
Thank you for you.
Nice, exactly. Yes.
On yours, I don't think
What do you mean looping?
Yeah.
That going up? On the example?
on your picture, the top right one.
Okay, so all of them are going to have that. This is just because I did this in 2013. I'm changing it up. This is just an example of it because I've improved since then. So I want to make it a little better. Beautiful. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Okay. Yeah, no worries. Let me help you. So I'm going to take this color, right? Yep. So this, and then this paint that comes, actually, can I do this one?
Yeah.
Is that mine? Okay. So this one, it goes around, right? I'm trying to find one that's not going to get in the way. Okay, I'm actually just going to continue this. So this going up, then you're going to bring it down, right? We're going to continue this line down, and then we're going up a bit. So again, on the other side, we're going to continue this line down, and then we're going to go up. And then we're going to put like some little rounded bits here, and then all of this gets colored in. Does that make more sense?
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yes. So each one of them is going to have that. Yeah. It can look like a little bit of a bra, like a hat on each. However makes sense to you. I'm sorry? Then it has to go behind it. Right. Right. Yeah, but you have to like, if you could still see some of it, then you have to like still tuck it behind.
For example, here, this one is behind.
Yep, so it's perfect. Nice. So the only thing, yeah, that's it. The only thing is that this part has to come over here because we're going to be capping these, right? Because it's like it's wearing a little bit of a jacket. Like picture like the things that go out, the arms, and then like the shoulders, right? So it comes out here. We go over and extend this out, right?
Okay.
And then we go over and extend this one out.
Okay.
And then we color in
Okay.
up here. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I don't know what I'm doing.
You're kind of doing it. Yeah, absolutely. Here, do you want me to show you again? Okay. I'll be back for you guys in a second. Leah, beautiful. Exactly.
So maybe on that one up there.
On that one? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna grab my color, right?
Okay.
And I'm gonna go around and just extend this to go up and out.
An S.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go over here and extend this to go up and out.
Okay.
And then all of this gets colored in.
Uh,
Does that make sense?
so
Okay. Nope, the other way. So it's gonna cross in the middle.
okay, so this way.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the opposite.
Okay, thank you.
Leia, this looks perfect. Well done.
Am I perfect?
You are perfect. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I'm coming. Nice. Looks good.
It is going to.
Yeah. Here, let me show you a little bit of a trick though. Do you mind if I touch your painting?
No.
Okay. So I'm
I
gonna
can
go
take a photo.
exactly. So I'm gonna go out and then where this I'm gonna extend like that. And on the other side, I'm gonna do the same thing, kind of thing. And then all of this gets colored. Does that make sense? That just assures that like this one has like flow and like an origin point. Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. Exactly.
Is there going to be something that's going to help to separate them?
Yeah, we can definitely add yeah, we have to add shadings for sure. Yeah.
Am I doing this wrong?
No, you're doing it right. You just need to fill in these guys. So we just fill these in, right?
On this one?
Yep, on all of them. And then at the end, just give it like a little bit of a softness to it. So we're just adding like little tiny like water droplets at the end of them. And that's it. You got it. Nicely done. Okay.
I know you can live.
So then you're gonna come over here and come up, right? So you're gonna come down, but because it's behind it,
Like, oh, it's too dark.
you can lift it up.
I know. I just was thinking about it.
Yep. So we're gonna do every single one like that. No, we're doing this step by step. So then again, I'm going up and around. I'm going down, and then I'm going to go up. Up and around, down, and up. Yes, so I'm going to be doing every single one of these. Okay, so again, I'm going to do that again. So I'm going around the edge, and then I'm coming down, and then I'm looping up, going around, and then I'm going down, and I'm looping up. But this one is going to be tucked behind the other one, so I don't actually have to do that one. So again, I'm looping around over here, right? So then I'm going to move down and then I'm going up and out. So you kind of have to like cross these two. So this one goes up and around, right? Up and around, and then this goes down and then up. So I'm going to do that to each one of them. I have 3 left that I have to do. I'm going to do this guy next. Okay. Oh, actually, I have 3 more. Yeah, absolutely. Two more to do. I'm going to move over here, do this guy. Okay, and then one last one over here. So I'm going to go up and around, and then down, and then back up. And then same thing on the other side, going up, around, down, back up. If it's too dark, then you can always lift it up. There we go. All right. I got them all. How are we feeling about them? So then what I would like to do is once we're all finished these foregrounds, and because we've been working wet on dry, it should dry relatively quickly. Once it's relatively quickly dried, once it's dried, I'd like to add in the background. And then that will really like bring the shape of the flower up, and like it'll really help you define the shape of the flower. Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. So right now we're going to focus on finishing up our little jackets, our little flower jackets. And then once that's dry, like mine's already dry, we're going to start working on the background. So who here is still working on their flowers?
Yeah, hearts.
Okay, hearts, yes. Okay, I will give you guys 3 more minutes and then I'll start moving on. And one thing that I actually learned, it is, but like the more you're aware of it now, like maybe next time you'll, once you're finished your drawings, you'll be like, oh, these are all the same size. So before you get to the watercolor, maybe you'll start erasing and then like redoing it. It is normal. Okay, so one thing that I learned actually from one of the magazines that you gave me is to really coordinate your like shadows and your colors. So when I'm thinking about the background color for this, I'm also considering what colors I want to use as my shadows, and then I'm going to combine some of those. So for this, I'm going to be combining the green, so the sap green that we all have, with the cerulean, sorry, is it cerulean? Yeah, cerulean, nope. Ultramarine blue, with the ultramarine blue. So your dark blue and the green are going to mix together because my cerulean blue with alizarin crimson is going to create the shadow colors on my flowers. So I'm making a purple eventually. This is down the line, but I'm just trying to explain to you my thought process for this. So I'm going to take ultramarine blue and add it into the background color to make the colors more harmonious all together. Yes, yes. So my ultramarine blue, which is the dark blue, with my sap green until I get like a nice turquoise color or like an emerald color, if you will. That's the color I'm aiming for. So I'm putting on my blue first. This is just me because I don't know if you guys are used to mixing blue, but blue is very overpowering to the rest of the colors. So often you need very little blue to go a long way. So I'm putting my blue first, and then I'm going to continue adding my green until I get the color that I'm looking for. Actually, I love that color, so I'm just going to stick with this color. Yeah, we are supposed to use the dark one. Yeah. So I have this like beautiful kind of emerald green that I'm working with. I'm just going to mix a little bit more. Beautiful. I love this color. You're getting mud? Let me see. Oh. You're doing this with that?
Yeah.
Weird. It looks like there's brown in there.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me. Because your blue was not cleaned? This is weird. Okay. Yeah, this is not a cute color.
Yeah, cute.
What happens if I add some of this to it? It's still gross. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna restart and see what I can get. Okay, that's better.
Not really.
No?
Same.
Okay.
Funny, eh?
Yeah. Well, let's mix these two together. I know this is gonna be nice. Oh, sorry, I just muddied up your painting.
I don't mind this color.
Okay, if you like that color, go ahead, but you can also obtain it.
Oh, that's a turquoise. I don't like that.
Okay. Yeah, then
Yeah, thank you very much.
me trying it out, yeah.
I want a little lighter, no?
No, this is nice. I like this color. Yeah, that's
Okay,
kind of
thank
what
you.
I got.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so for the green, okay, so before you guys start adding your green, the background is going to be a wet on wet technique. So if you think of the water as the primer, right? If the water is the primer, then wherever we want the green to go, we have to wet it first. I did. I absolutely did. I absolutely stole your brush. Okay. Yes. Just pick up less with your brush. Yeah. Okay. So I need to wet everywhere that I want the green to flow first with water. So we're thinking of the water as a primer. The paint will move wherever the water is. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to wet with water first, my entire painting with the entire background. I am going to be going around the hearts. I'm going to be going around the flowers and these little like the little flaps that we created off of the flowers. I'm going around that because I want the background to define my flowers. Does that make sense? Okay. And I'll explain to you every time I go back, but I'm going to start wetting here, right? And then I'll probably move over here and wet it a bit over here. But then I don't want this section to dry, so I'm gonna go back and lightly like wet this section again to dry, to just keep all of my paint paper wet. The paper that you have also, I'll give you a second. The paper you have also is real hungry for water. So don't be afraid to add more water. It soaks up water really easily. The whole background, not the flowers. All at once. All at once. The entire background is going to be wet. Yep. And the way I like to do this is I usually like to start by carving out some of my subjects. So if I'm starting, I like to like work through sections kind of thing. So if I'm starting here, up here, I'm going to go with a smaller brush first, and I'm just going to wet around the edges of my flowers first. Yep, we're wetting all the background except for the flowers, yes. And now I'm gonna go in, now that I've got my edge nice. And then while it's all wet, now I can add more water, and the water will only go where it's wet. So I'm gonna slowly work my way around. Oh. And then I have to pick this one up because all right, I'll help you. Hold on, we're just gonna do this the opposite way. Is that okay for you guys? All right, going back to wetting my painting. Yep, except for just not the flowers. Take your time with this, especially when you get around the flowers. Don't rush this part. Okay. Now I can tell that I've moved away, that this part is starting to dry a bit. So I'm just going to go in and dab some more water just to make sure that it doesn't dry. All right. Now I'm going to move around. Yes. So the bottoms are going to stay white. Yes. No, no, the bottom stays white. That's okay. You guys can lift it out. You can start the green. Yes, if you've finished watering the whole thing, then you can start the green. I am a little bit behind, so bear with me. Okay. So again, now that I've moved on a bit, I can tell that some of my painting is starting to dry a bit. So I'm just gonna move around that color to make, or that water to make sure that nothing dries on me. I'm dabbing, correct. Yep, so when you add your color, make sure to just dab your color. We're not really brushing it. We just kind of want to dab it. Allow the water to move the paint around. I'm almost there. Okay, so now that I have my whole painting nice and wet, and I can see how nice and shiny it is if I like just kind of tilt around. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm picking up my green color that I mixed, and I'm just going to start dabbing it where I want my paint to go. So specifically, I want it a little bit darker around the hearts to help me define the hearts. And then I'm going to go up into this corner. I'm kind of just dabbing, moving around, kind of creating a shape. Whoop. Sorry, guys. Okay. And now where I have these spaces, I'm just going to go in and like bring the color very close to the edge. Yep, I'm just creating an interesting shape with the background. There we go. Now that my painting is still wet, but it's a little bit drier, it's not soaked, I'm going to mix more of that color and then I'm going to add it a little bit darker in certain areas. I want to start adding some depth in my painting. So again, I'm mixing my cerulean blue with my green to get this beautiful kind of emeraldy color. And then I'm going to go in certain areas to make sure it's real nice and dark. Add some mood to our paintings. The dark blue. Yes. It's not exactly darker, it's just that I'm letting more pool there. I'm going in for a second pass, and because watercolor is transparent, it layers over. Does that make sense? And then I'm adding water if it's not bleeding the way that I want it to. I think I want this whole corner done. Have fun with this. This is wet on wet, so it's meant to be more playful. So add color certain times, add water instead of color. See how that pushes around the background. Really play with this. The more you play with wet on wet, the more of an understanding you'll have. So even if you make a mistake, you'll know not to do that same mistake next time. Or at least if you do it a second time, you'll be able to be like, okay, this is the same mistake I did before. Ugh. Fuck my cold. Okay. That wasn't muted. Okay, so for the stems, what we are gonna do is your background has to be really nice and dry because this has to be dry on dry, okay? Or dry brush, sorry. So what we are gonna do is with our medium brush, grab some of that burnt umber, that brown. You definitely have one. Sandra, it's fourth over from the green. And then let's add a little bit of that blue that we've been using for the shadow in it, just a little bit of the blue. Okay, a little more than that. Yep, it's gonna create a darker brown, like more of like a gray brown. And then what happens if I add a little bit, oops, of this in there? Okay, so then once I got to like a grayish brown because of the blue, I added some of my alizarin crimson, which is the same pink that we used for the hearts, into it. And now I have like this dusty brown color. Okay, perfect. So then that is what's going to be the color of the branch. Brown, blue, and the pink. Yep. And feel free to switch to your small brush. And then where they connect to the hearts is they go right in the middle, right where the two hearts meet. The stem comes out of that. So like this. So we have about a half hour left, so we can go in and darken our shadows. We can go in and like really play with it. This is a really good opportunity to practice your lifting technique if you don't like certain parts of it. So, Nat, what I'm doing right now is adding distinction between mine. So, what I'm doing is at first, you can watch what I'm doing. So, to add shadow and distinction, I can walk you guys right through how I'm achieving that. So, the first thing that I'm going to do is pick up that same alizarin crimson that I've been using the entire time. And then I want to differentiate this one from this one. Okay. I want to really make it look like they're popping off of each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my red and I'm coloring in all of that red area right here. So I'm coloring in that. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking my dark purple that we created, the nice shadow color, and I'm just dropping it right next on the other side of where I want it to look like it's separated. So I want this flower to look like this flower is casting a shadow on it. So this flower is casting a shadow on this flower because it's behind it. So what I'm doing is I'm just adding in that purple color wet on wet behind it, and what it's going to do is it's going to flow outwards. And see how that instantly looks like it's like a shadow, it's popping off. So I'm going to pick up my shadow purple color that we mixed. We're going to add it in right to the edge. Now that it's wet, it's going to bleed outwards because it's going to be a wet on wet technique. So I'm going to do it to this one too. I want it to look like it's behind all the other ones. So what I'm doing is I am picking up that alizarin crimson and I'm going to color the whole thing that alizarin crimson color. And now, because this is all wet, it's going to act like a wet on wet technique. So now what I'm doing is I'm picking up that purple that we created, and I'm just going to add it in where I think shadows are going to hit. So I think that this is going to cast a shadow right here on this one. And then this is casting a shadow right here. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of shading here and a little bit of shading here. And I'm just going to let it like kind of bleed together. Oh, Jesus. Oh, you want me to come to you? Okay. Yep. Give me a second. Let's see. Nice.
A little different. I can't. Should I close it up with what color at the end here?
What do you mean close it up?
It doesn't look like a heart. I mean, the end.
Well, the ends have like a little bit bulb. See how the ends have like a little bit of a teardrop? So you can like lift it out if you want to. So you just need more contrast throughout it. But I really like this one. I like this one though. Yeah, but if you add in some of this color and then make these top darker, then it'll give you probably that depth that you're looking at. So see how that mine are darker, they can like, they look more defined? I would go in and darken up the top and then add a little bit of pink to the bottom. Very nice. Really nice, guys. Wow, these turned out really nicely. How do you guys like it? Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys. Ooh, pretty. I like that.
That's great.
I like it. What do you think?
Is this one over this one, or is this one over that one?
You tell me, it's your painting.
What is over this one, which means I have to know.
Yeah, add shadow to the one behind it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Nice. Oh, I really like this. I really like this. How do you like it?
I'm undecided.
Okay. It's what I like about it is it's very like Monet impressionist style.
What I like is your comparison.
Thank you. But
It's
it's there's something to be said about impressionism, right? So because my style is so like realistic, like hyper realistic, and it's very unattainable for like a lot of new artists, comparing yourself to like more of like an impressionist style goes it can become really helpful.
and mine is normally more like dreamy, like you say. Like
Yeah, more like impressions of it instead of like the really highly detailed. Yes. So if you look up like impressionist artwork, so like Monet is a really big one too, you'll be able to see how like it's not exact. It's more of like they choose a subject and then they create a resemblance of that subject.
that's a resemblance.
Yes.
Which gives more of the impression when it's further away.
It also makes your audience work for it. You know, they have to work to fill in the blanks, and then that adds participation and makes your audience much more engaged with the artwork. How do you like yours? Meh?
Look closely, if you notice something.
Not really. No.
I only have two flowers here banded up to this stem.
Ah, there's one that fell off. It's fine. Beautiful, Mona. Well, you just have a bunch of stems all over the place. Well, since bleeding hearts hang, you don't really need these guys. So what you could do is just add a little bit of texture throughout your painting by just like messing it up a little bit. And this could add, yeah, and this adds like a little bit of texture, but then you can add some of your green into there as well. If you take more of your green. See how that adds like a nice little bit of texture to it? So you're just going to take your brush and kind of like just move it around with some water. You're just going to move it around with like water, right? And then once it's nice and lifted, you can go in and pick up some green and then just drop some green in there. Does that make sense? Okay. I'll give that to you. I like this. It's really pretty. Oh, I like yours too, though. You don't like it?
I like it better now when I put the stems on it.
Okay.
It's still okay. It's not bad. Not as good as the leaves. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful touch. It fits, you know?
Absolutely. And that's brush control, and that'll
Yeah.
develop.
Yeah, look how beautiful.
Don't compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to yourself. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Yes. They separate it? Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I like that. We have 5 minutes left. I mean, like, I don't deem this really all that finished, personally, not mine, because this has to be darker and this has to be darker, but it's not far off. So like if I were to take this home and really work on it more, I would darken up this color, darken this up. Do you? Okay. Oh, you're good. Hey, that's not a problem with me. So again, when you pull away from your paintings. When you're pulling off the masking tape, pull away from your paintings.